Welcome to Planet Subaru, one of the largest Subaru showrooms in the world and the first powered entirely by the sun. Today we're comparing three very competitive mid-size 3-row crossover SUVs. First, here in red, is the 2019 Subaru Ascent. All new this year. Subaru hasn't had a 3-row crossover vehicle since 2014 when the Tribeca went out of production. Next to it is the Toyota Highlander, and then we have a Honda Pilot. We actually bought the Pilot and the Highlander to have on the lot here to save customers from having to drive around all day visiting a bunch of dealerships to compare them. And that will indicate to you that we have a lot of confidence in the Ascent relative to the competition. Let's talk first about dimensions. You might be able to see it in the video, but the Ascent is actually wider, longer, and taller. So it's bigger in every dimension by a few inches than its two competitors pictured here. And ground clearance is also about an inch more, 8.7 inches for the Ascent. Despite the larger size, the Ascent, of course, is the only one that drives like a Subaru. You'll notice when you're taking evasive maneuvers or sharp turns in the Subaru, it's just a little more nimble, a little more sporty. And that's a decision on the part of the engineers to make sure it's the safest it can possibly be in emergency maneuvers. And they did that without sacrificing the comfort of the vehicle. One of the ways they did that is by using a boxer engine. So we'll move next to the engines, we'll talk about those. The Ascent comes standard with a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder boxer engine. And a boxer engine means that the cylinders are laid on their side instead of standing up like Coke bottles in a V configuration like in the other two vehicles. So that allows the engine to be mounted lower in the vehicle, so you get a lower center of gravity and you get more of a nimble handling experience. Of course, this is quite a bit lighter engine than the V6s in the other two, which means that the car is going to handle better too because it has less weight to throw around. Let's take a look at the Highlander next. 3.5 liter V6 engine in the Toyota, so it's a little bit bigger, generates more horsepower, doesn't get quite the fuel economy of the Ascent. And you'll notice because it's not turbocharged, you do have to wind it out a little bit more to find the power in the engine. So even though it's quite a bit bigger of an engine, it's not like you feel any more pull than in the Ascent. In fact, the Ascent, because the torque curve is so flat and it generates its maximum torque so low in the RPM range, you actually get a lot of usable power for an engine that's not so big. Also a 3.5 liter V6 in the Pilot. It has this V-Tec technology that you can see here advertised on the engine cover. That delivers more power higher in the rev range, but again, you're going to have to wind the engine out a little bit more to find that power. Moving to the interior, I'll show you all three vehicles with different seating configurations so you can decide which one is best for you. So here's the back of the Pilot, all 3 rows up. Back of the Highlander. And then the Ascent. Next, we'll put that 3rd row down. 3 vehicles are available in a 7 or 8 seat configuration. So we'll show you what the vehicles look like now with the seats folded down. First, the Pilot. Talking about the 3rd row folded down, I should say. So we have the 2nd row up. That's the Highlander. And now to the Ascent. No complaints at all about the ease of putting the seats down in any of the 3 vehicles. It takes only a few seconds. And wow, all 3 are just so big inside. You can see why these vehicles are so popular with families. You can haul a bunch of kids and their friends, take them to all their activities, and then if you need to visit the hardware store or load up the vehicle with a bunch of stuff, there's plenty of cargo room to do it. I think you could stick sheets of plywood in there and probably quite a few of them. Comparably equipped, the Ascent is slightly less expensive than the other two, although with window stickers in all three cases exceeding $40,000, you would expect them to come loaded with all sorts of luxury equipment, and they do. In the limited trim that we have here with the Ascent, you see the huge panoramic moonroof. The other two have more conventional car-sized moonroofs. Let's take a look now at the Highlander. You may have noticed there that the visibility out of the Ascent is excellent. Big greenhouse there. The engineers wanted to make sure that you could see every possible hazard or threat or obstruction out of the vehicle. Now we're looking at the Pilot interior. Typical car-sized moonroof there, as in the Highlander. All three come standard with a suite of semi-autonomous driving safety features. One of those features includes the blind spot detection system on the Highlander and the Ascent. What that is a light that illuminates right there on the Highlander when you have a vehicle in your blind spot, and that works on both sides. Uses radar technology to find the vehicles. I prefer the Ascent system better. It's got a much bigger light actually on the inside of the mirror housing, and that lights up really bright even in daylight conditions, so you're not guessing about whether there's a vehicle in your blind spot or not. In place of the blind spot detection system on the Pilot, they use something a little different called Lane Watch, and it works only on the passenger side with this camera, and it shows you an image of what's there in the center console. It takes a little getting used to. You might be able to see why the Subaru system is the only one that earns special praise from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety for the whole suite of technologies that they have available. Another advantage of the Subaru is that the eyesight system actually uses these cameras mounted high. You can see one there and the other ones. They're stereoscopic. And the system does things that the Pilot and the Highlander does not. For example, when you use the adaptive cruise control with the Ascent, it will work all the way down to 0 miles per hour. So in other words, if you're stuck in traffic and you have the adaptive cruise control on and the traffic goes down to 3 miles an hour, well, that cruise control will stay engaged all the way down to 3, and when the traffic moves, it'll pull you back up to highway speeds. In the Highlander and the Pilot, the system cuts off at 25 miles per hour. So those systems are a little less sophisticated. We'd love to show you why we think the Ascent is the best choice in this mid-size SUV category. So please feel free to visit us here in Hanover to drive all three, or if you'd like to learn more about our other comparisons, you can see some of our videos on our Planet Subaru YouTube channel, or you can visit our website, planetsubaru.com, where we have all sorts of pages devoted to the comparison of these vehicles and many others. Thanks for watching.